Welcome everybody back to the channel. My name is Sherwin and we are here for another day of new launch review. And together with me, I have my very good partner, Jason, who happened to be the IC for Penrith as well. So we'll be going through deep diving into Penrith, whether it's worth buying. And this is our table of content, or rather how we will be running through Penrith. The first will be running through quickfire facts and figures and some information. Next will be the pricing and layout comparison. Third will be objection or challenges we feel people might have on the ground. And lastly are just a few things which we think will be interesting to take note of. So Jason, let's go.
Okay, so let's go on to the facts and information for Penrith. So Penrith is sitting in a site area of about 100,000 square feet, plot ratio about 4.2. So expect Penrith to be tall. There'll be 2 blocks of 40 stories and basically all north-south facing units. So for north-facing units, you will see very nice unblocked greenery views. South-facing units, nothing much to shout about. You'll probably see the HDB and of course the lower floors, you will also see the MRT track.
One thing interesting, since Jason mentioned, for the surrounding other projects, right, they don't have direct north-south.
Yes.
Some of the units do have afternoon sun. I think the developer realized it. And for this, they actually fully maximize the view and
maximize the view and also the block-to-block distance. Later, when we touch on the site plan, you'll see that the 2 blocks are actually also very far apart. Okay, so in terms of land cost-wise, 1,154 PSF PPR. So we expect the pricing-wise to be pretty much reasonable. It would be probably cheaper than Sky at Holland, which is also launching this weekend. Right.
So one concern people have will always be comparing like Sky at Holland or Penrith.
Yes.
Which one to enter?
Yes.
But do take note, Sky at Holland is a CCR project.
That's right.
So slightly more atas lah.
That's right. Okay, so for Penrith location, we are actually located very near to Queenstown MRT station. It's about a 5 minutes walk. There will be a side gate from exiting from Penrith, and then you can cut through either the HDB estate or between the walkway between Commonwealth Towers and Queen's Peak to actually reach Queenstown MRT station.
So 331 meters. Okay, just to note, the Showflat and the exact location is slightly different. The Showflat is closer to the library area.
Yes.
But okay, before we forget to mention, when does it launch and when does the preview end?
Okay, so for Penrith, this will be launching on 3rd of October, and previews will tentatively be ending around 13 October.
So the balloting?
So balloting will take place on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, 17, 18 October.
Okay, so if you would like to visit the Showflat or would like more information, our contact details is down somewhere below here. Either me or Jason can bring you to the Showflat. Okay, and next, more facts and information. We'll just fire off quickly. Total of 2 blocks, 40 story, total of 462 units. Of course, this is a leasehold 99 years, starting from 4th of November 2024. Car park lot is not 1-to-1. I think it's around 75%.
Yeah, so car park lots here, we have a total of about 376 lots. And then, of course, now because there's a lot more electric cars, so we have about 12 electric EV lots as well. Then, of course, more importantly is we want to know when people can start moving in, right? So the estimated TOP would be around 1st to 2nd quarter of 2029. It's quite in line with most of the current projects.
Usually it's a 5 years time span.
About
4 to 5.
Close to 4 years.
Okay.
So also interesting to note, this project, it will have the ECDC Early Childhood Development Center located within the development itself.
Okay, moving on. Unit mix. If you see, there's no 1 bedroom over here. Later, we will explain more on the rationale of why developer is doing that using the resale as a comparison. And majority what the developer focus on, right, is actually the 3 and 4 bedroom, because the smaller unit type, they only make up around 33%. So I believe this project is rather own stay focused rather than investment or rental.
Yes, and also when we deep dive into the recent, the projects in the vicinity, you do find that the developers for this project has done it a little bit differently from the other surrounding projects, in that there are actually more own stay centric unit types for this project rather than say something like Queen's Peak or Commonwealth Towers.
Maybe that's why they explain. It makes sense that the layout is more efficient, but we'll see more of that later. And next on to the site plan.
Yes, so moving on to the site plan, you see here two blocks of 40-story towers, and you have sky deck actually on the top of the blocks. Okay, and then for the site plan, you can see the 2 square boxes is because Block 72 and Block 70 for the stacks 10, 11, 12, 7, they are exactly the same as the stacks 1, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the only slight difference is in stacks 8, 9 and stacks 2, 3. Then you can see block to block distance is 60 meters, and even for the south-facing units to HDB, you have a clearance of about 45 meters. And then, of course, as we mentioned earlier, the north-facing units will have very nice unblocked greenery views.
Actually, I'm quite impressed because just looking from this, right, the land size is smaller than Commonwealth Towers and Queen's Peak, but the way they managed to distance the unit and have the amenities in between really looks quite impressive, especially if you are buying into for own stay, because Queen's Peak itself, I would say, is rather underwhelming, and Commonwealth Tower, they do not have this kind of separation or distance, and per tower, right, there's only 6 units. So it's not like a long corridor where you will be like sharing like 2 or 3 lifts with your neighbor. So the waiting time for the lift will be much lesser as well.
Yeah.
And they managed to squeeze in a tennis court.
Yes. Of course, I do have one point to take with the design of this development is that somehow, unfortunately, in terms of design element, Block 70 and Block 72, they do not actually have direct access to the swimming pools from their lift lobbies. So what you need to do, as the developers have updated us, is to take the lift down to like the first story and then walk to the middle facilities deck. There's a lift shaft separately to go up to the roof.
So they have to go down level 1,
Yes,
then go,
that's
then
right.
go up.
Okay, but anyway, just to also take note, the ingress egress along the Margaret Drive, right? So when you enter the development, turn left goes to the ECDC, which is also accessible by the public, and then turn right, you go to your private car park lots, including the visitors. Yeah, so there's some separation in terms of privacy as well.
Penrith actually don't start from level 1, from my understanding, actually start from level 2. The purpose of it elevating is so that they have more privacy. So everything builds up onwards. But what's the distance from like level 1 to level 2?
So in terms of the height, we are looking at about, say, 15 meters, I think, thereabouts. So how it works is that there's a basement car parking, and then there's 2 levels of the like open air car parking. Not open air, the multi-story car parking. And then the swimming pool is located on the roof deck of the car park.
One thing interesting, this is the $1 million view for all the north-facing unit. This is where developer is also placing the bigger unit types, which are the more premium one.
I think you can see from this map, right? Actually, the developers have already done what they can to orientate the blocks in such a way where, firstly, it's north-south to avoid the east-west sun. Secondly, it's also to avoid the blockages from all the neighboring tall
The
blocks.
higher one.
Yeah, so also just, although we see on the side, like Skyview at Dawson, 47 stories, Sky Oasis at Dawson, up to even 45 stories, but always also do remember that the typical ceiling heights we have for the HDBs, they are traditionally a bit lower, so about maybe 2.6, but we have about 2.8 ceiling height. So like our 40th story is very much equivalent probably to about their tallest unit as well.
But in any case, the developer did try their best to maximize all the views for potential homeowners there. But moving on, this will be the view for the north-facing from level 10 all the way to level 35. Don't ask me how they got it. I think they flew a drone up and simulate the entire thing. And if you notice, right, if you are somewhat of a view guy, even going for a lower floor on the north-facing unit, right, is sufficient.
Yes.
It's really sufficient because in front of you is the church and the GCB area. So I don't think they're going to build anything towering over your views. Okay,
of course, based on master plan, there are actually earmarked for residential zoning around the north-facing as well, but I think there's no concrete plans yet, so the view should stay like this for a substantial period of time.
But if you're scared, buy level 40th. Next, we'll be moving on to the pricing. Just to take note, the indicative pricing has not yet been released. What we will show later on our price matrix is based on our own research, based on the nearby transacted, and what is the nearby asking. Because we all believe, right, that how the developer will price the new launch is firstly the land bid price, their break even and how much they want to profit. And secondly, it's based on the resale as well, because resale will form a benchmark, right? And developer will want to sell a premium. Cannot be developer sell cheaper than resale. Okay, the 4 condos that are nearby is Queen's Bay, Margaret View, Sterling Residences, and Commonwealth Tower. Averagely, they are selling around 2,000 PSF all the way to 2,400 PSF. These are those that are already transacted. But I believe, right, this is something interesting to note also. Every time a new launch is coming out, all the owners, resale owners will adjust their price upwards.
Yeah.
So you see, these are the transacted price, right? Now let us look at the asking price for the resale nearby. Look at the PSF and the asking price. For a 3-bedroom in Sterling, right, they're asking around 2,005 PSF, 2,559 PSF. Queen's Peak is around 2,477 PSF. And for Margaret View is 2003, Commonwealth Tower is 2005, 2006. So new launch or GLS do drive up resale pricing in a way that the resale owners will feel that they deserve a higher price as well.
Yeah, so they will tend to try and price it at just probably a margin lower than the new launch prices, so that for people who either can't wait or for people who perhaps are looking between the two, then they will find that by buying the resale, they still have some cost savings. Yeah, so why not, right?
So this is how we form our basis of the price matrix, benchmarking from the average asking, most of the owners are asking around 2005. We feel the developer might launch from 2006 onwards, all the way to 3001 PSF. Of course, the higher floor unit, the higher PSF. And one thing interesting which Jason recently mentioned to me is, if we were to notice like for areas that are very homestay, right?
And in the central,
Yeah, in the central area, the bigger floor plates, right, actually commands a higher PSF as compared to the lower floor plate.
Yeah, the smaller floor plates.
Yeah, smaller floor plate.
They actually play a premium for both the view and the size of the unit as well.
So a quick run through. The first 2-bedroom is 614 square feet. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath. If they are going to launch at, okay, I'll take the middle pricing, 2008 PSF. It'll be around 1.7 million starting from. The next one would be the 678 square feet unit. Okay, it's like
Probably around 1.8 plus.
yeah, your entry price will be around 1.89, 1.9 million. It'll be a 2-bed, 2-bath. 3-bedroom, 786. This is something interesting. If you launch at 2008, it'll be 2.2 million. Okay, a lot of people think 786 is very small, but we do have to highlight this is actually a
Post-harmonization project.
So aircon ledge is not counted. If you include aircon ledge in, it's actually a compact 3-bedroom around 850, 860 square feet, thereabouts. Okay. The next one would be 3-bedroom, 850 square feet. Entry price we believe will be around 2.38 million. And after that, you have the slightly bigger one, 936 square feet. If I'm not wrong, this has a yacht, yeah, which is around 2.62 million. And the 3-bedroom premium will be around 2.9, touching $3 million. And lastly, they have 2 4-bedroom units, which is at 1173 square feet and 1281 square feet, going at 3.28 million starting from and 3.58 million starting from. Okay, of course, this is based on 2008 PSF. I believe at 2008, 2009, you can get something at a mid-floor level.
Yeah.
But of course, depend on your balloting luck as well, because I believe this would be a quite highly sought after area.
I mean, based on the past transactions for Prince Peak, Margaret Drive, Margaret View, Sterling Residences, and Commonwealth Towers, this has traditionally been a very popular district, popular area. And regardless of the fact that, of course, we have Queensway Primary beside us, but aside from that, the school's nothing much to shout about.
No, all schools are the same. That's the price matrix. Next, we move on to the floor plan. Floor plan we will do in such a way that as we are explaining the floor plan, we will highlight all the resale floor plan as well, so you can have a side-by-side comparison. 2-bed, 1-bath, the size on paper all looks about the same, which is around 614 square feet, with the largest Margaret View 657 square feet. But do take note, because it's post-harmonized, 614 square feet for 2-bed, 1-bath. If you include the aircon ledge,
About 50 square feet.
it will be around 660 to 670 square feet, which will make it one of the largest 2-bed, 1-bath in the area. Okay, before Jason starts, I would just like to shoot down. Let's not compare Queen's Peak, because Queen's Peak sucks. Okay, why Queen's Peak sucks? I have said it in my previous video. The odd-shaped balcony, very big AC ledge. Your common bedroom can only put one single bed. As compared to if you look at the rest of the units, right? You have proper balcony. Your common room can put a double bed, and everything is more squarish. Okay. Anything that you would like to add on?
So I think Guaco has always done it very well, in the sense that I love how they design the kitchen always when I tell my clients who come to the show flat, is that you find that a lot of the kitchen layouts today, they like to do the island sticking out in the middle. And then it kind of causes some wastage, in my opinion, wasted space, right? But Guaco has always done it flanking along the walls of the kitchenette area, L-shaped area, so that you are able to maximize the dining space, like in this current Penrith layout for the 2-bed, 1-bath. You are able to maximize the dining space. If need be, you have a extendable table. If you have guests over, you can afford to open up the table a bit and then accommodate a good six packs.
I think it's the way they integrate, right? Because if we draw comparison for Penrith and Margaret View, okay, the difference, right, for the kitchen is very obvious.
Yes.
And because they didn't integrate the kitchen into the dining area, whereas they put the kitchen at the corridor, everything looks more narrow.
Yes.
Yeah, then everyone puts up, so they create this corridor, just put the kitchen there, rather than integrating the space.
And it's a very long corridor if you see the floor plan as well.
It is.
Yeah, then even for Sterling, of course, the trade-off, you do get an enclosable kitchen, but in terms of the dining area, then it's also slightly limited. Then for Guaco, they like to do this where you can see the wall-to-wall distance between the kitchen and the opposite wall is still
wide.
slightly wider than the wall-to-wall space for the living area.
So it will feel constrained.
Yes.
But I think Sterling is also not bad because some people do prefer a tuck-in kitchen.
Yes.
Okay? So comparing layout, I would say Penrith and Sterling are worth considering. Then if you really
You can see the Sterling's transactional volume and profitability as well. Clearly, Sterling is aside before Penrith comes into the picture. Sterling is probably the most sought after and also the newest.
I would believe it's because of their the facilities they have also. But the distance to MRT is quite far away. I think it's around 450 meters. So it's a 6-7 minutes walk. Whereas for Penrith, it's just a 3 minutes walking distance. Okay. Next, we move on to the 2-bed, 2-bath. Okay, 2-bed, 2-bath. There's more comparison.
So for the 2-bed, 2-bath, of course, this will be the Showflat layout unit, right? And you can see from of course, there are dumbbell layout for both Sterling and for Penrith. But the difference is that our Penrith 678 square feet is not including the aircon latch, whereas for the Sterling's 678, and then they also have a 689 square feet, they are both pre-harmonized layout, so they will include the aircon latch. So if you actually factor the aircon latch in, Penrith's layout is bigger.
Around 740, 750.
Around. Okay, then if you go on to see even Margaret Ville's 2-bedder layout, 700 square feet is the traditional L-shaped layout. Same thing, the long kitchen walkway space and the kitchenette. I don't know, but I generally feel that the clients I serve, they don't really like to open up the main door and then just see that, oh, I'm actually walking through the kitchen. You know, so that's why also we see the more modern floor plans that developers have taken all this feedback into consideration. They always try and tuck the kitchen away from at one side. Yeah, then also you can see for Commonwealth Towers, slightly better layouts, right? I would say, but of course, age is an issue, right? And then also you see the bedrooms, I believe it's a little bit smaller also for the common bedroom.
So Commonwealth Tower, 3 different 2-bedroom layout, but we will not touch so much on it. The most efficient one, or the one I like the most, is of course the kitchen with the L shape. Yeah, so you come in, have a very wide frontage and an L-shaped kitchen. Okay, so this is 2-bed, 2-bath layout for Penrith. Moving on, something interesting. The 786 square feet, 3-bedroom. Okay. There is no 2+ study in Penrith. But why I use the 2+ study from the surrounding Sterling residences and Margaret View as a comparison is because the size is similar. Okay. So Margaret View, the 2+ study is 829 square feet. Sterling residences is 764 and 786 square feet. So how they manage to squeeze a 3-bedroom into such a small space and still make it efficient.
Yeah. So for the 3-bedroom, of course, it's a little bit of a pity that they didn't do it similar to like your Springleaf, where they do a 3-bedder dumbbell layout. You know, or Ori, they actually did also a very boxy 3-bedder compact layout at 850 square feet. Nevertheless, it's still very decent. This 76 square feet layout, you can see they can fit a queen, king in the 2 common bedrooms and the master bedroom, and then both toilets have windows. It's ventilated. Your kitchen is also ventilated, so you can do gas stove cooking, right? And then there is a bit of a longer walkway at the entrance, but nevertheless, the living, you can still fit a very nice size dining set, 6-seater, as well as you still have a good size living area. So it's because of all this very squarish or rectangulish kind of design that they can actually be very efficient. And again, for 786 square feet, this is a post-harmonization, so we are looking at easily at 840, 850 square feet under the whole layout. And at the end of the day, I think it's good that you compare it to the 2-bed plus study unit types in Sterling and even Margaret View, because I don't think you will disagree that, you know, in the resale market, a 3-bedder is still a 3-bedder. It will definitely command the 3-bedder pricing versus Sterling Residences 2-bed plus study, because even listing, you are listing it as a 2-bedder versus a 3-bedder for Penrith. So ultimately, I would say that, and even Springleaf has proven that this layout and this price point would still attract a very good size of the market who are perhaps a bit more price sensitive. It's like today, if I put the 2 layouts side by side and I say this one is a 3-bedder, this one's a 2+ study, which one are you going to go for as a buyer who is sensitive, price sensitive, right? I will still pick the 3-bedder because I get 3 proper bedrooms. Yeah, whereas if you look at the 2+ study, the studies is almost impossible to incorporate it into like a small single size kind of bedroom type also. Yeah.
So they are give and take lah. If you were to notice throughout all these 3 that we are comparing, the first difference is the balcony is much smaller for the 3-bed 2-bath. Of course, if they exclude the aircon latch as well. And like you say, I feel developer did a very good job coming up with this layout because it fills a gap in the market.
Yes.
Later we will show you what is available for 3-bedroom in the market and how the developer will price, right, when they make such a small layout. Like you say, entry price is available.
Yeah.
Today the resale for the 2+ study is around 1.9 ish million, hitting 2 million already. If I just top up 100,000, then I can get a $2 million 3-bedroom in the same location with the same livability factor. Why not go for it? Even in the resale market, if I want to sell next time, I don't have competitor. My next competitor will be resale 2+ study, which maybe someone else bought for like 1.9, $2 million. So entry price is the same. Why not get something which is more efficient and has more bedroom? Okay. Of course, lastly, the living room size is about the same. So that one cannot kiam because that's the best they can do with 786 square feet already. Okay, moving on, we have the next tier, 850, 936 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bar. Okay, the difference for 850 square feet and 936 in Penrith, right, is just the yard area and WC. The rest is the same. So if you don't need the yard and storeroom and the additional WC, usually these are for family helpers.
So I would say that the 936 square feet is also a very good replacement for, let's say, somebody who is from a 4-room HDB. You know, because 936 square feet, you throw in the aircon latch back, is close to 1,000 square feet, which is something that HDB upgraders would be familiar with. So when they move on to a condo layout, you are looking at the 3 bedrooms, you still get back 3 bedrooms. You, instead of the bomb shelter, you do get a storeroom. So it's really a 1-for-1 replacement. And in terms of price point wise, it will not stray too far off as well.
No, but okay, sorry to interrupt you. I just did a calculation quickly. The difference in size is like 86 square feet, right? So if per square feet is 2,006 PSM, right? If you need the additional storeroom and WC and the yard, it will cost you 200,000 more, 223,000 more. So this is something for you to do your math and comparison, whether it's worth paying for the 223K for that additional space.
Additional space, storeroom, toilet, slightly larger kitchen area.
Yeah, but of course depends on your family size and your objective ultimately. If you just want to buy a 3-bedroom and rent out, maybe the 850 square feet would make more sense. Yeah, because I believe the 96 square feet and 850 square feet, the rental would not differ as much. Okay, but looking into comparison, Margaret View, there's only one 3-bedroom type, which is a 915 square feet. Sterling Residences, they have 883 square feet and 893 square feet. Commonwealth Tower, they have 904 square feet, and for Queen's Peak, they have 947 and 850 square feet. Okay, Queen's Peak is a bit interesting. They have more 3-bedroom layout, different sort lah. But I will not touch into it for the same obvious reason which I bashed them earlier on.
Funny shape balcony.
Yeah, still because of funny shape balcony, small bedroom size, and if you look at it, they don't even have a proper kitchen. But we will move on to Penrith because this video is about Penrith only. Okay, what I noticed, the walls cannot be hacked, right? Because they are all dark shape. Okay. The other thing I believe I saw in Springleaf, the difference, right, is actually I really don't like narrow living space, because if you have a very nice unblocked view, but your living room is very narrow, then it's a bit sayang You get where I'm coming from. Yeah, but this cannot be helped.
Actually, it's okay lah. It's pretty standard Like the 3 meters wall to wall. I think in today most projects you go to, 3 meters is pretty much what you get for the 3-bedroom.
But I think it's a real estate, a realtor issue because we see so much already. Then we will more or less know what we want and what we are more particular about. So if you give me, I have a choice. I rather have a long, wide frontage than a narrow one.
You go for the more landscape layout.
Yeah, but other than that, everything is very efficiently placed. You do not have this in the Showflat itself. The Showflat is the bigger unit type, but we can highlight to you the difference lah. Okay, moving on.
So next, the 3-bedroom unit type, of course, the larger one, it's 1066 square feet, right? So with this, actually similar to the 936, you get the store, you get the yard area, you probably get a little bit larger living dining space combined, and then also in the master bedroom, you do get your nice walk-in wardrobe leading to the toilet. So nothing very much extra to add on. You just have a lot more space.
Yeah, so you have much more space. But of course, this will be the premium 3-bedroom already.
Yes.
And the store sort of act as a study area if they need, if they don't need.
So of course, a lot of people will say that at the end of the day, for 1066 square feet, 3-bedroom unit type, right? If let's say you are veering towards the mid to higher floors already, and with that kind of price point premium that you're paying, you might want to also then consider instead going for the slightly lower floors entry-level 4-bedroom instead, because I think price point wise it may not differ too much, because it's a difference of 1066 versus 1173. So that's a difference of about only 100 square feet, which is probably 260,000.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
So if you 1173 minus 1066, 107 square feet. If you buy 1066 at the high floor, assuming it's 3001 PSF, it'll be 3.3 million.
Yeah.
Okay. If you buy 1173 at 2006 PSF, you'll still
Yeah, it's cheaper. So that's the issue with buildings. I mean developments that
They have
have
views.
40 stories, and
Yeah.
yes, of course, views. So you pay a premium for the views. You also pay a premium for the higher floors, right? And then at the end of the day, the second floor versus the 40th floor, your quantum difference can be quite large.
So when it comes to balloting, how we will guide is we will really see what is the unit available and whether the premium is worth paying for. Of course, if it's a very emotional buy and you love the view, then by all means lah. But like we mentioned, the calculation we showed you earlier on, if you can save 300,000, but you can get something at a 4-bedroom, maybe your capital upside is much more. Yeah, but of course, if the difference is only 50,000, then maybe just get a 3-bedroom with the unblocked or very high view lah. Okay, moving on will be the 4-bedroom. Okay, there's no 5-bedroom, so everything will be the 4-bedroom. 4-bedroom, interesting enough, they built two different unit sizes. One is the 1173 square feet and one is the 1281 square feet. Okay. If you realize, right, the developer really focused a lot on the larger floor plate.
Yes.
Because they have similar size as Margaret View, but Margaret View only have one type of 4-bedroom and only one stack, and it's at 1184 square feet. Pre-harmonized. So if it's post-harmonized, I believe it's closer to like 1,000 square feet. Yeah, about. Yeah. The first reaction most of the agents have again when Margaret View was first launched, right, is 1184 4-bedroom, 这么小，怎么住?
But now it's become the norm.
Yeah, but now River Green is like 980 square feet. Yeah, they're about that. Okay. Hey, so let's look at the 4-bedroom. Of course, the bigger size unit, they will design it better, wider frontage. They have a store and a yard that is separate, and they have 4 bathroom as well. And one thing I like, right, for the premium, right, just because it's premium, right, they have a Jack and Jill bathroom. So it makes it like all the bedrooms
Have an attached ensuite.
Yeah, have an attached ensuite. But if you look at like Margaret View, there's only 2 bathrooms. They don't even have a WC. Okay. And for the smaller 4-bedroom, they only have 3 toilets, and this is where they differ in because of 1 bedroom lacking. But of course, that 1 bedroom might cost you another 200,000. So depending whether you think the 1 bedroom is the 1 toilet is worth paying for or not lah.
Yeah, so for actually, if you compare the floor plans between the 4-bedroom premium Penrith Showflat layout versus the Sterling, of course, Sterling very efficient. They have a dumbbell layout for 4-bedroom, which is not very common in the market. And of course, with that, you have a little bit less walkway space and more livable space. But also take note, it's actually 1346 square feet. So 1346 square feet, you minus off the aircon ledge space, I would say is comparable to your Penrith current 4-bedroom layout. Yeah, so but of course the trade-off is you don't get the ensuite for the 2 other common bedrooms, whereas for Penrith, all the bedrooms, even the 3 common bedrooms, all have in a way ensuite.
And okay, because of the larger size itself, right? If you're entering at 2006 for a 4-bed 4-bath in Sterling, in Penrith, as compared to you're entering at 2005, even though the PSF is lower, it's a bigger space, you're actually entering a higher price for the resale market. But then again, there's not a lot of supply in the resale market for you to enter in Sterling. Because most of the people that buy Sterling, it's for their own stay. Yeah, especially with the large.
So if you notice, actually, when you do a search on, like, let's say, units for sale for the 3 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms, actually, this area has traditionally been quite low in supply.
Quite limited. Okay, which will be one of the challenges we will be talking about shortly. Okay, but out of these 4 or this unit type, what do you think is your favorite?
Oh, definitely would be the 1281 square feet, because I think at the end of the day, like what we mentioned, 1281, I mean, 4-bedders are generally own stayers. And for the own stayers, between 1173 and 1281 square feet, it's a difference of about 100 square feet, which works out to be about 200,000+ difference. And at this kind of quantum, I think the buyers for such floor plates, they generally want space, they value space. So the 1281 square feet being a landscape layout, more wider frontage with good facing, this would probably be the preferred unit.
More preferred. Actually, I would prefer for me, price consideration, I'll go for the 2-bed 2-bath. Because
2-bed 2-bath.
Yeah, 2-bed 2-bath, the dumbbell layout. I think it's very efficiently designed, and because I have no kids and only like multiple pets, right, this makes sense for me. 4-bedroom, of course, out of my budget, and the size would be too huge for me because I mean 2 persons staying at 2 dogs. Yeah. Okay, and moving on. We'll be talking about the objections and challenges which we will most likely face on the ground, because we do question ourselves every time we do a new launch review, right? Would I buy this? What are the reasons why I will not be buying this? And I will try to convince myself or come up with like facts and information to see whether my view, it is my thinking, whether is it supported or it's just a emotional objection. Yeah, which I feel most people would have similar challenges on the ground as well. So firstly would be the pricing and view. So without any argument, right? Debate, right? I feel Penrith would be the costliest, the most expensive in that area itself, just because it's the new launch in the area. And with the view going all the way up to the 40-year story, right? Some might start to question themselves, is it worth paying that kind of a premium? Because what happens if I can't sell in the resale market? Because the view is very nice, but if you can't sell in the resale market, then you're just not making money. Alright? Then the second one is we are buying into a mature estate. There's not much transformation in the area. And most of the HDB coming up in the area will be under the Prime and Plus model, where they have a longer MOP period of 10 years. Okay? And lastly is they are cheaper and more supply in the alternative, because there's so many condos surrounding it, right? Why not I just go for the cheaper alternative and I can slowly choose from the resale supply. Okay? So we will talk about all these challenges one by one. The first would be the pricing and view. What's your thoughts on that?
So for the pricing and view, I think at the end of the day, we have to recognize that we are buying to a new project. And as mentioned, in terms of supply-wise, especially for the 3 and the 4 bidders, you have not that many people selling in the vicinity of the vicinity projects. So at the end of the day, there will still be, I believe, a good number of buyers looking to enter into this district. They will kind of be limited by options and they will go for the brand new. Okay. Then also in terms of views, I think you can see as we pull out the data for Queen's Peak, Sterling Residences, as well as Commonwealth Towers, regardless of whether it is a low floor or high floor, actually we have already transactions that have very good capital appreciation, regardless of whether it's low floor or high floor. So it's not always the case where the lower floors would actually make more profits than the higher floors because they enter in at a lower price, because there are probably good enough number of people who would enjoy the views, the kind of lifestyle, and then they are willing to pay the premium for it. Yeah, so take for example, if let's say we look at a project in somewhere else that I chanced upon when doing research for a client recently, is Penrose. So Penrose actually have internal quieter facing views versus external, the PIE views. And the price gap is actually about 100,000 for internal and outer external facing, 100,000+. And you do still see people willing to pay that kind of price differential for quieter versus the external views. Then, yeah, the noisier highway facing views. Then you can see from within the district itself, like especially for Sterling Residences, it's actually also very apparent that the high profit margin, you have both the low floor as well as the high floor one hitting this kind of profit margin as well. But of course, I would be guessing that those people who are willing to pay for the higher floors will tend to be the people who are buying for own stay, right? Yeah.
I feel people always forget, right? Before all the analytical, technical debate, argument and stuff like this, right? Humans are emotional. Yeah. So when it comes to new launch, we always talk about numbers, efficiency, and layout, because we do not get to see the actual thing. When it comes to the resale market, and you step into something on the 40th floor, and you see the unblocked view, you can start to immediately visualize and imagine yourself staying there for 10, 15, especially when nowadays people stay in a property longer than the past, right? When you step into something on the 40th floor, you have an unblocked GCB view. As compared to you viewing, you're going to see something on the 3rd floor. And
exactly.
You see
so if I were to give you the counter, let's say you are going there as a retail buyer to view 2 units. One unit happens to be on the 35th floor, north facing the nice greenery view. The other one is perhaps your 7th, 8th floor, south facing, right at the MRT track level, for example. And then look behind it is all the HDB. And then let's say my asking price between the two, the difference is perhaps a difference of 1.7 versus 1.9. I mean, I would believe that there would still be enough buyers in the market would want to consider paying the premium for that, because that's what they come back to for own stay purposes. That's what they want to enjoy for the
that's the argument most people, the debate most people will have internally with themselves or their family, whether that 200,000 is worth paying for. Because if I stay here for, let's say, 20 years, I annualize it. Every year I'm paying $10,000 more just for a better view. And in a sense, right, those that buy at a higher price, right, they also not selling cheaper. Okay, Singaporeans do have the holding power. You cannot go there and lay long. Hey, got a third floor selling at 1.7 million. Do you want to sell at 1.75 million? They will ask you to go and wait long.
So contrary to what I think a lot of videos tend to want to say, you know, they'll talk about walkaway price and all that. I think at the end of the day, it also, I mean, from the very purely analytical numbers point of view, of course, we would want to make sense to put in a walkaway price, right? But at the end of the day, if I'm somebody who's buying and I have clients who tell me I'll buy and then I will die here, you know, that kind of thing. So if it's this kind of buyer profile, at the end of the day, it's about buying what they like. If the location is something that they need because perhaps they want convenience to be near their workplace, convenience to be near their parents, you know, that's one consideration. Or another consideration could be they say that, oh, I only want high floor because I'm buying to stay and I want the view. I want to be able to look at greenery every day. That's also another consideration that if you go and look at available projects, you do not find very commonly projects that have more or less fixed block views for the foreseeable future. So that again adds to another element that, you know, the buyer profile, we still need to see what the buyer profile is. If it's purely buying for investment, then of course these analytics make sense. But if it is a own stay profile, I would beg to differ.
But I believe the way the developer build it is because they know that they are the sort of the latest plot and there's not a lot of supply in the area. So the pricing will be justifiable for the big floor plates.
Actually, contrary to that statement, if you do look at the master plan, right, around the surrounding areas, there are still quite a lot of plots that have plot ratio earmarked for future residential developments, right, and subject to detailed planning, the usual. So, like I mentioned also, even the north-facing view, there's actually 2 plots earmarked for future residential development as well. So, although it's a mature estate, potentially there are possible future developments too.
Yeah, so moving on from that, since Jason brought up mature estate, this is our next objection or challenge. This is already a mature estate. From now we talk about investor. From an investor standpoint, or maybe I'm a hybrid buyer, I buy a while, stay a while, and after I will sell. There's no upside to the area that I can benefit from. Not talking about rental, because rentability there is fantastic. What do you have to say about that?
So I think if you look at Sterling Residences, for example, right, when Sterling Residences launched, it is also launching in a mature estate. But I think the results of Sterling Residences have shown that even though you are development located in a mature estate, there's still a lot of potential for good profit margins coming back. At the end of the day, buying into a mature estate means that everything is already built up. Your convenience is there. Your location, your very centrally located location is also there. So these factors will still ultimately play in when you exit a property, you know, versus let's say you're buying somewhere further away. So for instance, Sherwin, if I were to ask you, 2-bed, 2-bath, would you rather buy into a mature estate like Queensway or Queenstown, or would you rather buy a 2-bed, 2-bath in a non-mature estate such as Canberra?
Okay, that depends. If I have limited budget, I will go and buy the new launch.
Let's say I have a $2 million budget and you can buy for your own stay, like a profile like yourself, right? You can buy a 3-bedder in Canberra and you instead you sacrifice 1 bedroom, buy a 2-bedder in Queenstown.
I'll buy a 2-bedroom just because of the accessibility and the convenience. But if I have no choice, I have family of 4, then I want a new launch, then I would get somewhere where I can enter with that price point.
So ultimately, it is a lot of buyer profile that we have to look at as well, because increasingly, like what you mentioned, right, the clients I serve, you know, those who are not married, those who have no kids or just 1 kid, and then most of them don't have helpers. Actually, for them, they rather live centrally in a 2-bedder than live further away in a 3-bedder.
That's true. I do serve a lot, and the demographics is we are aging population, no escaping birth. So more and more of the family profile is like a couple or just a couple with a small kids, or a couple with lots of pets like me.
So average family size now we're looking at is about 3.0, 3.1.
Yeah,
3.1 thereabout. So usually about 1 kid maybe.
So both of us are not playing our part to help repopulate. So don't have to worry about us. You just buy a 2-bed, 2-bath or compact 3-bedroom in a very accessible area.
So that's why, coming back to your question, right, I do still feel that you know, at a 2 million price point, there will be good enough numbers, especially as the time goes by, good enough demand of people who still prefer to stay in a centrally located area, 2-bedroom. Like, for example, even, you know, just to detract a bit, like let's say even Sky at Holland, right? To live right next to One Holland Village.
And those have pets,
right? And those who have pets. And then One Holland Village is such a perfect pet-friendly mall. Yeah, I can see totally that, you know, a couple or single with a pet they would happily stay in a 2-bedroom. They don't need a 3-bedroom. They'll happily stay in a 2-bedroom with the kind of budget that they have right next to.
And the MRT is at the doorstep.
That's
Okay, sidetrack. Sky Holland, also going to launch soon. Just find us. Yeah, but moving on to that, right? That's the whole point I want to make as well, bringing up this. So sometimes it's not just about transformation. Transformation do play its part. But we do have to remember, right, for mature estate, right, people already like living there. Like East Coast. Tell me East Coast plan, East Coast got plan, East Coast they reclaim the land, but that is like 10, 20 years later. Example. But the prices there are still so strong. The demand there is still so strong because people that is buying into there, like from what I can show you from the data I pull out, right? They are people with higher earning capacity. They don't mind paying for the price just to stay in a place where everything's already convenient. So today, if I earn a lot of money, why would I want to stay somewhere that is slightly more ulu? And you tell me about transformation, but then again, those doesn't really guarantee, or nobody can guarantee the future. Why do I buy into something where everything is already guaranteed already? Then I don't have to face multiple constructions, road work that will make me very frustrated. So to answer the point that a mature estate has no transformation and it's not worth buying into, it really depends on your profile. And we will not say, right, you cannot make money from a mature estate. Because at the end of the day, it all boils down to demand and supply. Willing buyer, willing seller. Okay, which brings us to the last point of supply, your alternative in the area. If you do have a look over here, right, there's multiple projects all the way from 1-bedroom to the 5-bedroom type. But firstly, look at each of all the properties. Okay, from Tanglin Park, Tanglin Regency, and whichever Alexis, Alexandra Center, they are all above 10 years old minimum. Alexis is a project that loses a lot of money. I will not go into that. The layout is shit.
But it's freehold, right?
It's freehold. But 没有赚钱 freehold 什么用? The value is relative. If you buy something that sucks, it can be so cheap, but nobody want to buy from you. Is it a good buy or not? Example, okay?
I mean, there must be a reason why it's cheap, right? Begin with.
Yeah, there must be a reason, okay? So indeed, there is a lot of units in the surrounding, but units in the surrounding is not equivalent to units available
for sale. That's right.
So let us just look at the units available for sale. I'll not go through everything, but we'll go through the bigger unit type. If you look at the 3-bedroom in 4-bedroom in Commonwealth Tower, there's no units available for sale. For Sterling Residences 3-bedroom, there's only 10 units. For Queen's Peak 4-bedroom, there's only 1 unit, but I believe this is more towards a 3-bedroom because it's only 1055 square feet. And for Sterling Residences 4-bedroom, there's no units available for sale. Margaret View, there's only 1 4-bedroom available for sale. And lastly, Commonwealth Tower 3-bedroom, there's only 9 units available for sale. Of course, the 1-bedroom and the 2-bedroom, you have slightly more units. But interestingly, for the 2-bed, 2-bath, the supply for the area, right, is quite limited. So I believe this would answer our own objection of there's a lot of condos in the area. Because condo does not equal to supply available. And why new launches are selling out so fast is because there's not enough resale options in the market today, especially for an area that is very sought after. Even if there are, like we mentioned earlier on, the owners will have adjusted their price, right, to almost match the new launch pricing, which is very evident. You can see it everywhere. I think at the start of last year, Jayden would be one of the best example. Look at J Gateway. Their prices have been quite stagnant for a while. Jayden shoot out right. Suddenly J Gateway, the price increased by 200 PSF. And there are people buying in J Gateway.
Because I think the mentality also is that I will go to the Showflat and then I will see the pricing for the Showflat ultimately, and then there will be a group of buyers who is always comparing. I want to stay in Jurong. Should I buy J Gateway or should I buy Jayden? Okay, let's battle and see whether we can get a good price Jayden. If cannot, then maybe I will fall back on the retail.
Then they self-close themselves, right? Because J Gateway's Jayden said 2007, J Gateway said 2005. J Gateway cheap,
cheaper than I buy.
So it's not uncommon, but it's also good to compare the resale alternative. At least you see whether that premium for the new launch is worth paying for, the layout is more efficient as such. Okay, and to end off with this video, there are 3 interesting things which we would like people to take note, or at least our audience to take note. The first is the number 33%. Okay, 33% meaning the unit mix. There's no 1-bedroom. Developer focus is a lot on the 2-bedroom, the developer focus is a lot on the larger floor plate, which means there's only 33% of the 2-bedroom available. I believe they will be sold out or almost sold out on the first day of launch, just because of the number of 2-bedroom available. So if you're balloting, it really depends on your luck. Okay, and
I think if you take Ori also as one of the case studies, the 2 bedrooms, even all the way up to the 40th floors as well, they more or less sold out. Same for Elta also. They more or less sold out or almost sold out on the launch weekend.
Okay, that is because, right, I believe the entry price itself. Like if people want to go and buy a HDB over there, now the HDB over there is like 1.4 or 1.5 million, Skyview and Dawson. So going back to demographics, if I am a single guy, okay, I want to stay in the area, I'm above 35, I want to buy a HDB there, I'm subject to MSR. So if I'm subject to MSR, I want to buy something at 1.4, 1.5 million. How much do I need to earn to afford to be able to buy the HDB as compared to if I want to buy a 2-bed 2-bath for a condo there? It actually makes more sense for them.
Not to mention the cash upfront as well.
Yeah, quite tall lah.
Yeah.
So this is something for you to take note. We'll do a numbers over here so at least you can see our point. Okay. And next one, interesting to note, is the 786 compact 3-bedroom. I believe personally it will perform very well because of the entry price and it has 3-bedroom. We step up quickly.
Because I think if let's say again looking at the track record, sorry, just to go back to the first point again. So Alta, I think the 2-bedders, they actually managed to hit 2,800 plus. For the Ori as well, they managed to hit across the 3,000 PSF mark as well. So today, if let's say I have Queenstown super near to MRT, 2-bedders, you are looking at young couples with no kids, that kind. You know, paying 2006, 2008, even 3000 PSF to stay in such a superbly centrally located condo development, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. That's why the 2-bedders would likely perform very well. Then for the 3-bedder compact 786 square feet, again, if I draw the track record on, let's say, the Ori's 850 square feet as well as the Springleaf 743 square feet as well for the compact 3-bedders, these have already a proven track record that the compact 3-bedders really sell out very well. Everybody was chonging for the Ori's 850 square feet layout, and then same thing for the Springleaf as well. There were so many stacks of the compact 3-bedder layouts, but the price point was super attractive. It really drew a lot of people's attention, and then by launch weekend it was sold out as well. So this 786 square feet compact 3-bedder layout for Penrith is going to be a very attractive price point for people who need 3-bedders.
Okay, and lastly would be how would developer price or factor in the premium facing and the floor levels and whether it's justifiable to pay the extra 200 to 400,000 in jump, because I believe that would be the price level difference from level 2 all the way to level 40. There wouldn't be a walk away price like what Jason mentioned, but more so of emotional value, whether it's justifiable, whether you should pay for it, and how we would advise you on the ground if they are
based on your needs. I would say it's a needs-based kind of assessment, because of course if you are a pure investor looking to make a good flip, then perhaps we would recommend like a safe kind of price to enter into. But if let's say you are more of looking at the own stay kind, then there's some intrinsic intangible value that you cannot really put a price tag on.
Because we are not you, we cannot justify the emotional value.
And of course I sorry to interrupt, but then I would say also one point to note is when you see the developer's guide price, entry price, it's probably going to be like the second floor south facing, the most kind of
averagely
versus the
honestly if they launch at 2006
it's
then those that buy Alta, they will regret already. Like in my personal opinion, so I don't think they will start from 2006 or name them, but the lower floor unit,
south facing,
because the indicative
no to talk about.
Indicative is only one unit, so you buy purely for the layout and the location. Then every per level jump, then you start to you debate with yourself whether it's worth it or not. Okay, so we end off this video here. Same thing, just to mention, the project will be launching 3rd of October. And if you would like to view the show flat, do contact me or Jason. Or if you want a more in-depth analysis based on whether the project is suitable for you, your needs and your objective, do contact us as well. As always, do remember to subscribe, like, and share the video so we have more motivation to do more valuable content for the people out there.